الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا والسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. All praise is due to Allah. We praise Him, we beseech Him, we seek refuge in Allah from the evil of our own souls. Whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala misguides, then none can misguide him. Whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala misguides, then none can guide that person aright. I bear witness and I testify that none has the right to be worshipped in truth but Allah, and that Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, is his slave and his messenger to proceed. This should be the final lesson, wabillahi tawfiq, in our series about black magic, jinn and evil eye. And I want to thank the masjid, the committee of the masjid, for their husn al-dhan in their brother and allowing me to actually cover the topic, and for them in their care and concern for the community and the ummah in recording the topic so anybody can go on the internet and to see it and to benefit, inshallah. This doesn't mean that that's it, but we're going to have half term and inshallah come back with another course, wabillahi tawfiq. Before I commence, brothers and sisters, there's something I found very intriguing about life. You know, it seems wherever I go, this country, the Muslim world, the non-Muslim world, outside of this country, people are suffering from the same problems. The difficulties, the strains, the issues all seem to be the same. The youth, when they reach the age of 14, 15, are disconnected from their elders. And when we talk about Muslim youth in non-Muslim countries, it seems that they're not content following the blueprint that was laid down for them in the Kitab and the Sunnah and with their parents, but they seem to want to go alone. Now, I don't personally blame Muslim children for that. I don't. Because we live in a society that tells you you're free. Only when you start living by yourself and paying bills, you realize you're not free. When I lived with my parents, I never paid a single bill. Life was sweet. When I got my own flat, you get the gas, you get electricity, you got the rent. If you don't pay the rent, you get the yellow letter, then the red letter. Then they send you a white letter, which is what it comes up. White letter which comes from the court. And how many court letters I've had in my life. And so we make the assumption that life is free and things are all on your side, until you actually really go out there and you realize that things are not on your side. The beauty of Islam is that by following Islam, it gives you a straight path to avoid the problems other people have. This weekend I was overseas. I met a number of people, not young people, people who are in their 20s, late 20s, 30s, and listening to their experiences of life. MashaAllah, many of those young people have their own businesses now. They've got businesses, they're doing things for themselves. And I always say to our young people, the days of getting a degree or A-levels and getting a job from someone is over. That you have to be an entrepreneur. There's many ways to make money. You know, I remember our brother Dawood Adib, Hafidhahullah, he came in the 90s to England and he said, man, there's many ways to make money. We who have been cultivated by the dole, we said, make money, how to make money? And he gave a long list of ways we could make money. So the hustling mentality is very important. When I say hustling, I don't mean negativity of selling drugs, or making music, or doing these type of haram. But finding a niche that there is a demand and rising to service that demand in something halal. So this weekend I realized that the problems that we all face, whether in the UK or in Ireland, America, Qatar, it's almost like a universal problem or issue. And the only way forward for us, brothers and sisters, is for us to return back to our deen. The many things we are facing in our communities, there's only one solution: returning back to our deen. The personal problems we have, and it's very easy to always blame somebody. If we don't blame the government, it's the white man. If it isn't the white man, it's our parents. If it isn't our parents, it's the next door neighbors. It's easy to blame other people, isn't it? Because psychologically we want to maintain a face. I don't want to feel that I'm bad or see myself as being bad. But in reality, sometimes, and this Jummah inshallah we'll talk about it more in detail, that the problem lies with ourselves. Do you know our Prophet told us sallallahu alaihi wasallam that somebody may be prohibited from their rizq because of their sins? Now we think of sins, I do a sin, astaghfirullah. If Allah opens the doors for you to say astaghfirullah, how many times we sin, we don't say astaghfirullah. But we feel the sin is just one black dot on our hearts, or one dot, one bad sin recorded for us. But this may have a ramification, brothers, which we don't realize in our lives. One of those ramifications is in money. Now our young people believe, what's the best way to make money? Anybody? Any way which is haram, yes? I don't know if I said this last week. I was speaking to a young person, and in fact I spoke to a lot of young people last week. I was speaking to a young person about marriage. You know, he said to me, this is a Muslim, born Muslim, father's Muslim, grandfather Muslim, great-grandfather Muslim, everyone's Muslim. If you were to tell him, go back 10 generations, everyone's a Muslim. I was talking to him about marriage. You know what he said to me? Marriage is a piece of paper. Where did he get that from? Marriage is a piece of paper. That's what you hear from Ken down in the pub. You know, they live together, they have 4 kids, they have a car, they have a mortgage. Then when the paper comes in, they get married, everything falls apart. A young person said to me, he said, the only woman I want to marry is Elizabeth. Have I told you this one? No, I didn't, have I? Did I tell you that one? Yeah? The only woman I want to marry is Elizabeth. Meaning money. The one I know I've told you before, the only woman worth running after is she on the £5 note. This is us. This is what we become. Like the rapper 50 Cent said, get rich or die trying. Look at that, get rich or die trying. This is what's in our minds. Money. There is an ancient god called Mammon. Mammon represents wealth and greed. I ask myself sometimes, when I look at some people, are you even Muslim? Do you worship Allah? Or do you worship your desires? Or do you worship money? Because some people in our community, brothers and sisters, and outside, they will do anything for money. There is no limit to what they would do. And this is not Islam. Islam is submission to who? Who? To Allah. Is it to the pound note or the dollar bill? It's not. Submission to Allah. Submission whether you are rich or whether you are poor. And this is why I can see, you know, when you open the door of magic, evil eye and jinn, it's just a flood wave. You can't stop it coming. Everybody has their horror stories. I don't know a single family that hasn't been touched by this issue. And often, this is because of jealousy and envy and greed, and sorry to say this, I know we got little ears here, lust. We live in a society in which tells you whatever you lust for, go for. I was shocked. I consider myself to be a seasoned veteran of this dunya. I was shocked. Minding my own business, trying to do the right thing, trying to be a good boy in a naughty world. I heard a song. The woman said, your man is my man is your man. What's that all about? We live in a time, brother said to me, his wife said to him, she'd rather him get a girlfriend than get married again. Look at that. You go to work, tell the non-Muslims, I've got married again, I've got 2 wives. What's the response? You're nasty, you nasty Muslims. Am I right? Go to work and tell those same people, I've got a side chick. What are you going to say? High fives, everything? Yeah, what are you saying? High five. Take it to the pub and buy your drink. Buy a glass of Henny. This is the topsy-turvy upside world we live in. Where getting married is bad, but having a side chick is okay. So, look at this phenomenon. 2 wives, nastiness, am I right? Heard that before. A black woman, Allah guide her. She said, you Muslims are nasty about polygyny. But if you say, boy, I got 4 side chicks, what's the response? Isn't it? They place a crown over your head. If you are unfortunate to go to Instagram, what's promoted on Instagram? That's what's promoted on Instagram. Zina, lust, that's what's promoted. Guys bragging and boasting about what they don't have. So he goes to a car showroom, he sits in the car, his friend takes a picture and he captions it, my latest car. He's a broke person. But this is what we are taught. And especially certain cultures, this has become part of our culture. I use the word negativity. Comprising of 2 words. Nigger and negativity. And I use it all the time. And I do apologize if some people find it harsh. But I'm going to be relentless in my use of it. The nigger is a construction of white supremacy. He or she is a stereotype of a person of African descent. There is a difference between the nigger and the African. The African is somebody with culture and history. The nigger is the opposite. Negativity is doing something which is bad for you. Those of you who doubt my use of this word, go to Instagram. Go to Instagram. Find 99.9% of accounts of people of African descent doing what? Doing negativity. That's all it is. The sad thing about it, our African brothers and sisters should be leading. Brothers and sisters from different parts of Africa should be showing their culture. What do we see? What do we see? We see them, the blind leading the blind. You do not have a legacy of slavery. Tanzanians, mashallah, were they slaves? No. People in Nigeria, were they slaves? The people there now? No. Ghanaians? No. But the things that your cousins who are slaves forced into slavery, and through the wretched process of slavery, eked out a culture for themselves, some of it is positive and some of it is negative. We are following the negative thing. But brothers and sisters, we should never take on board other people's negativity, even if they look like us. Like in the Muslim world. Some people in the Muslim world, they commit shirk. Some people in the Muslim world, they have bid'ah. We have a phenomena of the YouTube shiur. We have one of them, he does tafsir of the Quran. Where the hell did he learn the Quran? Who taught him the Quran? that, brothers and sisters. Some people criticize me for being harsh. I've come to the conclusion I'm not harsh enough. I'm not harsh enough. Because somebody who teaches the Quran, you don't know where he learned the Quran, has millions of followers and subscribers on the internet. What does that say to you? Here are 1 million people who look at what? A personality. That's what it is. I want the criterion for what is haq, the truth, and batil, falsehood, is how it sounds. I remember once there was a brother who owned the Islamic tape business. He said to me that if there was somebody and he felt he could influence them to become Muslim by giving them a tape of Louis Farrakhan, he would give it. Farrakhan believes Allah came in the form of a man and he teaches it. Farrakhan believes Elijah Muhammad was a prophet and he teaches it. How are you going to give a tape of such an individual to someone who's coming to Islam? What kind of Islam are you going to bring them to in the first place? It ain't going to be Islam, it's Islam. So I think sometimes that some of my critiques are not piercing enough. Because brothers and sisters, we need to wake up. And this is the problem. Muslims are sleeping. We are sedated by chicken and rice. As long as you give the Muslim community chicken and rice, nothing will happen. They have a plate of rice, a piece of chicken, even if it's just a scrawny chicken, they'll boil up the bones. But once we have that chicken and rice, everything is nice. And somebody knows that. Take away the chicken, take away the rice, what happens? Muslims somehow turn to their deen. Isn't that sad? Why is it we have to have calamities for us to turn to Islam? And so brothers and sisters, I said this introduction. Forgive me if I've taken your time and if I've said certain words that you may find a bit shocking. But I wanted to give this so I don't forget this. Because it's important to remind the believers, because in this country where we have, mashallah, we've been blessed, it's easy to forget that. For us, when we look at Syria, you fling a pound or 5 pounds, that's it, your duty's over and done with. Am I right? Who said your duty's over and done with? Even back home in our countries where we have Muslims, what is our efforts to those Muslims back home? Have we ever thought that the blessings that we have, and I don't mean material blessings, but the blessing of learning the correct understanding of Islam, we need to spread it? It's sad if you come from a village and there's a grave in the village and people are circumambulating that grave. While you know it's bid'ah and shirk, those people deserve to be taught. And it's neglectful. And I'm not saying it will happen, but perhaps Yawm al-Qiyamah will be asked. What are you going to say? What are you going to say if Allah asks you, why do you not give da'wah to the people back home? What are you going to say? Exactly as I thought, silence. There's nothing we can say. And we can publish books and distribute tapes and distribute material. Many Muslim countries, they don't care about deen. Especially in Africa. Talk about your religion as much as you want. The line is politics. You enter into politics, that's when it happens. So alhamdulillah, we have an opportunity to spread like in this country. You can talk. Things I'm saying now in another country, whoa! They have the Arabic expression wara ash-shams, behind the sun. You get a phone call and say, listen, you know your husband or your son or your brother, forget him. Pretend he doesn't exist. Some Muslim countries, I met brothers like that. I know a brother who the Syrian government took him, a bag of his belongings, and brought him to the border. Is it the border of Syria? Jordan borders Syria, doesn't it? The Syrian-Jordanian border, gave him a kick into Jordanian side and told him you're expelled. Did you hear what I said? The Syrian government This wasn't recently. It was back in the 80s. Took him, a bag, here's the border here, put him here, kick, you're expelled, don't come back. He was one of the lucky ones. He was lucky. There are people who died in prisons. In Assad, the father's prisons, you have 50,000, 25,000 people dying in the prisons because of Nusayriya, the people of Bid'ah, the Alawiyah, have no love for Ahl Sunnah, as we know. And so, my brothers and sisters, with that being said, I said this today, and I ask Allah to guide us and keep us on the Sirat al-Mustaqim, as a reminder that there's so much to be done, that all hands are needed on deck. All hands in different capacities. It doesn't mean if you can't talk, you can't do anything. You can help. It doesn't mean that anybody's expecting of you to go and give a lecture. We should. This masjid here, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us some stability, it is going to be, inshallah, a beacon light of Tawheed in Bedford. We have so many things other masajid here don't have, besides Tawheed. When they have somebody wants to become Islam, what do they send them? Here. And you've heard me drone on about that before. So we have a big job ahead of us, and the young ones especially, our young brothers and sisters, need to fix up. Because the older generation not going to be the same age. The brothers who are carrying the dawah now, 20, 30 years time, will retire. The younger generation, the young brothers and sisters we see coming to the lessons, are the ones who need to carry the mantle of this dawah. And you need to get yourselves ready now, not tomorrow. We have this idea, you know what, I'll have fun now, and when I'm like 24, I'll become a good Muslim. How many Muslims died having fun? How many Muslims got caught in car crashes and lost the use of their bodies having fun? You've all seen of that young man who has lost the control over his whole body, he can only just move his head. And he goes around places in Saudi Arabia talking about his experience. You see on Instagram the picture of the man with no legs and he goes to pray. You see a picture of the person with no legs and no arms, they go to pray. You see the person who is blind and he goes to pray. You see the picture of the old man with a walking stick moving like a reed in the wind and he goes to pray. My question, brothers and sisters, what's our excuse? What's your excuse? Here is somebody who can't walk and with his stubs he goes to pray. Look at us. We are healthy. We don't go to Salah. What excuse on that day will we give for not, being part of a noble effort of educating people about Islam? If Bedford was an Islamic state, we can just sit back and relax. But it's not an Islamic state. So brothers and sisters, I hope from today we can, all of us, place our hands on the deck and work together to proceed. We finished last week talking about seeking medication. And we spoke and we talked about that in Islam, we understand there is spiritual cures and there are organic or physical cures. Islam encourages the person, if they have an ailment, to do both things. There are supplications we can use, as well as go to the doctor. We also said there's a methodology, that the medication, the doses of the medication, the use of and timing of the medication, all of these need to be taken into consideration. Now I studied homeopathy, walillahi alhamd. Not in great detail, but I studied it. And that's what homeopathy does. It takes into consideration the dosage, the age, the lifestyle of the person. And these are very important things. You know, schizophrenia, which is a mental condition that the person can hear voices and have hallucinations, they see things, and they become like they're depressed. They want to get out of bed. They don't want to do anything. Do you know 1/3 of people who take medication for schizophrenia, it doesn't work? So many of us, we pop pills and think, yeah, that's it. Just take a pill and that's the end of it. Brothers and sisters, not the case. The medicine that's made by the pharmaceutical companies are aimed at covering all populations, which is not in and of itself possible. Why is it we can't find a cure for cancer? Because there are different types of cancers according to different types of people. Last week you heard me make the distinction between somebody who is physically African but genetically European. Possible. You look at the person, you think, oh, that person's African. But when you look at their DNA, you see, wow, that in terms of their genes, they're African, they're European. It's possible. That's why some of us act the way we behave. That's why we act in negativity. My personal belief. Maybe I'll do a PhD thesis about it. What do you think? So, these are things that we said we take into consideration. The brothers and sisters, we looked at the effects of the Quran. We started to look at the Quran. And we can never ever emphasize the Quran. We live in a time today, brothers and sisters, where we devalue the Quran. What do I mean by devaluing the Quran? I remember back in the 90s, we were strongly against taqleed, blindly following scholars. If you brought the statement of a scholar, what's the first thing we would say? Sheikh, what would we say? Sheikh so-and-so said, we would say. Sheikh is tired today. What would you say? Back in the 90s, if someone said, Sheikh, so-and-so said that, what would you say then?
Yeah, is that proof of that? What is the kitab of the Sunnah?
Excellent. Where's the dalil? I remember, and until today it trips people up. Someone says something cool. Where's the dalil? Dalil, brothers and sisters, is what? What's dalil? Dalil. Proof from where? From the Quran and the Sunnah. The Quran and the authentic Sunnah. Because you have some groups of Muslims, they have a book, mashallah, of virtuous deeds. When you read Arabic, it says munkar, repudiated, da'if, spurious. They're not authentic hadith. And they base good deeds upon it. So the authentic hadith in the Quran are important. I find today, people have moved away significantly from Quran and Sunnah. If you say, Sheikh so-and-so said it, bam, that's it. But the statement of a scholar is not proof in and of itself, because of him. I remember Sheikh Al-Albani, especially when he was alive, nobody would dare to say a scholar's name. You had to bring the proof. And Sheikh Al-Albani, when he was challenged once, I listened to the tape, what did the brother say? He said, Sheikh, you taught us that of the importance of bringing proof when we make a statement. The Sheikh was happy. Look at that. Even to contradict the Sheikh, where's the proof, Sheikh? Sheikh Al-Albani never got angry if you said to him. That's why brothers love him. Sheikh, where's the proof? Sheikh will give you Quran and Sunnah. And what the 3 generations said. Not, well, it's my statement, you're offending me. Because Islam's got nothing to do with no one's feelings. And this is where we Muslims kind of get it mixed up. Don't say something because of someone's feelings. No one cares about anyone's feelings. It's the deen of Allah. Why are you bringing your feelings into it? You want to say something about Islam. Someone on YouTube says something about Islam and you correct him. And this guy gets indignant. Who are you? I know I'm nobody. But this is the deen of Allah, which is something. There was an individual who has a degree from the Medina University, a master's degree in Aqidah from the Islamic University of Medina. He wrote a book about the sciences of the Quran. Then he spread that he has a doubt. Was the Quran, its collection, was it authentic? Was this true? You're telling me you spent 10 years in Medina doing what? Eating chicken and rice. Going to the fun fair every day. Chilling out with your friends on the internet. What do you go to Medina for? We have Muslims here who can't read or write, even our young children. The Quran, as it was collected, is it the same true Quran as in the time of the Prophet ﷺ? We have babies, 4 years old, 5 years old, will say yes. Here's, mashallah, somebody with a PhD in Islamic studies, saying to us, he has a doubt. Where did you get that doubt from? Where? You studied how? 3 years Arabic. Do the math with me. 4 years degree, that's 7 years. Plus 4 years for your masters. 11 years. 11 years to study what, brothers and sisters? It would have been better for him to go to a university in America and study food science. I'm not making fun of people who do food science. At least he could do something from the Ummah, teaching people about nutrition, than being a person of the deen of Allah. And that's not the sad part, brothers and sisters. That's not the sad part. The sad part, brothers and sisters, is when he is challenged. What's his response? His response, brothers and sisters, who are you to come and challenge me? We have no gods besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyone is up for grabs. Nobody could come to Islam and think somehow they are like some edifice that is stuck in concrete that can't be shaken. After the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, anybody can be questioned. There's no untouchables in Islam. If this is the deen, and remember when you say that statement, it's like some of your brothers, the deen squad, who, the Rawafid, they believe the Quran that we have today is not the same Quran as the Prophets. They believe, their scholars believe, that a chapter has been taken out of the Quran. What do you say about that, brothers and sisters? Good? Alright? What do you say? It's okay? So here, this individual, he says, who are you to question me? Subhanallah. But brothers and sisters, that's not the saddest thing. I expect it. There is a thin line between arrogance and confidence. And many people slip into arrogance. But brothers and sisters, I was on this person's Facebook. You have Muslims defending the lie that the Quran that we have today hasn't been correctly corrected. There could have been some mistakes in its collection. That is a sad thing. Why did this happen, brothers and sisters? Because of personality worship. Worshipping personalities. In Islam, do we have personality worship? This is the things of the Christians. Their personalities they worship. The man has an 18,000 capacity church. Then it's found out he had inappropriate relationships with the choir boys, and everybody just keeps quiet. Have you ever heard of Eddie Long? Reverend Eddie Long? Reverend Eddie Long was a man, he has a church, 25,000 capacity. Can you imagine that? On Sunday, a sea of beautiful faces. But then those boys that knew him, they started coming out and said he had inappropriate relationships. They even got pictures. Look at this. A grown man, a grown man in pictures. He's got muscles. He's got a tight, what's it called? Tight t-shirt on. You know what they call them, tea bags. Those vests with all the holes in them. Taking pictures of himself. What are you trying to do, Reverend? Who's those pictures for, Reverend? A grown man taking pictures. As if he has a midlife crisis. Grow old with dignity. And that's what he said to those boys. But what's the response from Reverend Eddie Long? Is anybody going to come out? And you know, when it comes to these type of relationships, The Bible is not like the Quran. There's no comparison. The Bible is unequivocal in what it says about those relationships. And you're a reverend. The people are like, shh. No. Under the carpet. There's personality worship. You don't worship God. You worship a man. Besides Jesus, you got two men you worship. Cracker Jesus, and now the Reverend Eddie Long. Now I don't want to speak bad of the dead, because Eddie Long is now passed away. But I use him as an example. We have that in our community. Where we have peers and we have mullahs and barazuk and all these type of people who do all kinds of crime. And our response is, shh, don't talk about it. And so here, brothers and sisters, this individual had the audacity to first of all question people. Who are they to question him? And in the end, he didn't, it wasn't even an apology. It was like, well, I can't even say it. I don't have that kind of mind. Not even an apology. Well, maybe there was a mistake somewhere. Something like that. Is that an apology? Guy smashes into your car. Oh yeah, I see there's a dent. Yeah, you're right. Is that an apology? Not an apology. But this is the reality. And that's why we stand against personality cults. We love the ulama for their knowledge and their deen, but it doesn't mean if they make a mistake, we're going to follow them into their mistake, no? The 4 imams, we love them. And we hold them in high regard. But if it's a mistake, it's a mistake. It's the deen of Allah. There's no untouchable. No untouchables. You can say what you want, do what you want. I had a sheikh the other day. He said how he went to the border of Senegal and Gambia. And there's a tribe of people there who believe that all their sins are forgiven. So he said he went there and they said, I've come to you to give you dawah. They said, give us dawah? I'm in Jannah, what are you giving me dawah for? Look at that. They said, oh, our sins are forgiven. What are you giving us dawah for? No matter what I do, I'm in Jannah. Wow. Subhanallah. What are you saying? No matter what you do, you go to Jannah. That is the mentality of some people. That's why the people of Tasawwuf, in the later generations, they would smoke weed, hashish, they would dance, walk around the place naked, have girlfriends. Why? Why would they do all these things? No? They believe they were saints. Whatever I do, I'm forgiven. Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the nation of Islam, in his works, he speaks against polygyny and a plural marriage. He had 8 girlfriends. 8 girlfriends. But what was his response? His response is he's a prophet, so he has multiple wives. This is what people believe. And you have Farrakhan and all these other people today. He paraded the women in the 90s to say these were his wives. Go and look what Elijah Muhammad speaks out against polygyny. He's against it. But he had 8 wives. He had 8 girlfriends, I'm sorry to say. But then he backs it up by saying he's a prophet. And on top of that, as a prophet, even if he made his sins forgiven. Look at that, brothers and sisters. And so, last week we started to talk about the effects of the Quran. Allah says that we sent down of the Quran that which is a healing and a mercy to those who believe. So we said, brothers and sisters, there is a cure in the Quran for those who do what? Who believe. If you don't believe, how can you seek a cure? Or if you believe in the Quran and believe in something else, how can you have a cure? And this is the problem when it comes to the Quran. That some people are not rooted in that the Quran, brothers and sisters, stands at the center of our lives. If your life is not in conformity with the Quran, you need to change your lifestyle. It's not that the Quran goes around your life. You know, some people, Salah goes around their lives. So when I get a moment, I'll pray. Now, brothers and sisters, prayer comes first. Prayer comes first. Some people, they work in jobs. I know one of the brothers of our community, that he had a job, they wouldn't let him pray Jummah. Jazakallah khair. He was adamant he's praying his Jummah. How many of us, if we were in that position, would have said, well boy, I can't pray Jummah, astaghfirullah. And that is it. How many of us? Because our minds are like cash registers. You put the money in the mouth, ting, and the pound sign comes up in the eyes. This is our modus operandi. Money. But one of the brothers, nah, he put his deen, and whatever you leave for Allah, Allah gives you better. And I'm not saying to anybody, become Darawish. Darawish meaning people who live on the streets, go around begging like a monk. Begging people for £1 to buy a cup of tea and a sandwich. No. But I'm saying sometimes, if you're going to take a stand for something. At work, if your boss was to tell those guys, you can't go pub and you can't play music at work, what would the non-Muslims do? Be a bloody riot, isn't it? Am I right? Do that. If you're a boss, say, right, no swearing, no music, no one is allowed to go to the pub or drink alcohol in lunch times. And also, no naked pictures of women are allowed in the lockers. It's haram to gamble. If we were to gamble, I'd be a very rich man. Those guys will forget their job. They'll forget their mortgage, forget their kids' education. You say no pub in lunchtime, it's all over. No dirty pictures on the wall, it's all over. No cussing and swearing, no joking, it's all over. Now comes Abdullah. When it comes to Salah time, how do we fight for Salah? When it comes to Jummah, I want to go Jummah, how do we fight for Jummah? Do we fight for Jummah the way they fight for the pub? No. They have more conviction in their pub than we have in Salah. This is a problem, brothers and sisters. When it comes to the pub, it is like, I saw this Nigerian guy once. He said, he had a t-shirt, it said, football is my religion, the Emirates is my church. Football indeed is their religion. If a wife says that, if a man supports a football team and the wife says to him, you can't go football, he's got a season ticket, you can't go football Saturday, what's his response? No? It's talaq, talaq, talaq! That's what he'll do. He's ready to divorce his wife and leave his kids for Arsenal. And not one of his mates will say, oh, bro, what are you doing? That's wrong. Yeah, you're right. You showed up. That's the response. But what about our response, brothers and sisters? They are willing to sacrifice everything for Arsenal. We are not willing to sacrifice nothing for Allah. And so, the belief is imperative, brothers and sisters, when it comes to the Quran. We must cultivate our children to love the Quran. I remember some years ago, there was a pastor who wanted to burn the Quran. I think I gave the Jummah khutbah about that. He wanted to burn the Quran because the Quran was a book of violence. Obviously, that pastor was ignorant, never read the Bible, because the Bible said, kill the Samaritans, kill the Philistines. How many people it said to kill? The Bible, if I was to sit here talking about the violence in the Bible, we'll be here till next week, Saturday. But my point, brothers and sisters, Muslims jumped up. Muslims demonstrated in India, Pakistan, in Nigeria, in London. Demonstrated. If that pastor was there, it would be worries. But here comes the question, brothers and sisters. All of you people who demonstrated against the burning of the Quran, what's your relationship like with the Quran? Do you follow the Quran? Say we're drawing the pictures of the Prophet. Nobody says we're happy with the burning of the Quran. Of course we're not. Nobody says we're happy with people drawing pictures of the Prophet ﷺ. But here comes the operative question. You want to fight and kill and maim somebody for drawing a picture of somebody you claim to follow, but you don't follow him. How many of those people demonstrating around the world pray? You go to see these demonstrations. They demonstrate for Palestine, they demonstrate for Syria, they demonstrate for Iraq. When it's Salah time, how many people go to pray? Where's the Salah? How many of those sisters who are there screaming for Palestine, when it's Dhuhr time, they put something over their head and they start bending down to their Lord? So that's a waste of time, your demonstration. If you love Allah, then you follow His book. And this is not just for the community, it's for me first and foremost and anybody else. Me first and foremost. And so it is a cure for those who believe. Allah tells us in Surah Fussilat, say it is for those who believe a guide and a healing. Those who believe. The Arabic expression, لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, who have belief, who have iman. Brothers and sisters, Islam is not a part-time vocation. You do it sometimes and leave it sometimes. Islam is a 24-hour commitment. Some of us think Islam, I always say, it's like pick and mix. I like this bit, I don't like that bit. I want this bit, I don't want that bit. Then when we our lives, we have problems, who do we blame? We have this phenomenon in the Muslim community of Muslims becoming atheists. Why do people become atheists? Now I can't say my answer here. That would be a bit too much. But people become atheists because simply they're depraved. When I have no barriers, everything is open for me. There's no halal, no haram. I can do anything. I can be an animal. Charles Darwin saw humans like any other animal. And those people who believe in atheism are like animals. You can do anything you want. Allah raised us as human beings. With human beings, you have morality, you have parameters of behavior. And that's why you find Muslim youth, because seldom do you find those Muslim youth who are atheists, moral people. They're people who don't drink, don't smoke, don't commit zina, don't. Seldom. They're the ones at the forefront. When there's a party, they're the party animal, the one jumping up and down on the tables. Why? Just for their whims and their desires, brothers and sisters. So the Quran is not only a guide, because it guides you in your life. If you follow the Quran, it takes you away from all the pitfalls and the things that other people do. Allah says, La taqrabu zina. Allah says to stay away from khamr. When you follow the Quran, you don't get into zina, you don't drink khamr. But if you don't, you will. Protects you. We don't even realize how we're protected. Look at our next door neighbours and the type of lives they have. Look at the things that they do, the things they fall into. But we are protected. Why are we protected? Is there something special about us? Are we the Green Arrow Superman in here? No. Because we follow the Kitab and the Sunnah, we stay away from those things. And the pitfalls of those things. So it is also a healing. Also, we said that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, don't turn your house into graveyards. Indeed, shaitan flees from the house. When Surah Al-Baqarah is recited, we learn, brothers and sisters, that shaitan, here's the Quran again, spiritually protecting us. The uncreated speech of Allah. When shaitan, don't think because when shaitan comes into your house, all he does is watch X Factor with you guys and take a couple pieces of popcorn. And while you're laughing at the jokes, he's laughing as well. Brothers and sisters, something spiritual can cause organic problems. What do I mean? So you can be possessed, or somebody can do magic on you and it can affect your limbs. You can't move your arm. They can do something to affect your brain and it damages your brain, brothers and sisters. Do you know that? Do you know that? That something spiritual can affect you organically. Sometimes, and we said this many times, we have our young children. Our kids are young, they're on the deen, they're on the religion. As they get older, they seem to change. Why do they change? Because someone's hasad, their jealousy. They're corrupt. So they don't want their kids to be upright, no. But they don't want your kids to be upright either. And so the Quran, brothers and sisters, protect our houses through Surah Al-Baqarah. And the ulama, when they say concerning Surah Al-Baqarah, is not you stick the tape on and carry on with your lives. That's what we do. You put Surah Al-Baqarah on to play, and then you are watching television while Baqarah is reciting. Am I right? That's what people do. Brothers and sisters, the ulama say when it comes to reciting the Quran, is the person saying it from their mouths. That's the recitation, not playing the tape. Also, Abu Sa'id, he said that a number of the companions of the Prophet were traveling and they passed a village, and then to the end of the hadith where the chieftain of the village, he was cured with Surah Al-Fatiha. And last week we said that we made mention of the point that when our children, ourselves, we are ill, we shouldn't forget those du'as to say on ourselves. Some of us, we are pill poppers. One problem, we pop a pill. Brothers and sisters, through doing the du'as, you can be cured. You can be cured. I know many people, when the kids were young, they were sick, they would place their hands on them, they would do the du'as on them, and alhamdulillah, with the fever subsided. Many people. So don't underestimate the power of these du'as. Also, the great and illustrious scholar Ibn al-Qayyim, he stated, the Quran is a complete cure from all diseases related to the heart and body. Diseases of the heart. We live in a society which is sick. When I look at some people's behavior, I'm convinced they have mental illnesses. You see a perfectly ordinary young person walking with a strut down the road. Why? We have the proliferation of narcissistic complexes. A narcissist, brothers and sisters, is somebody who thinks they're perfect and they're right. When you look on the television, lots of those singers, actors, are narcissists. Look at that evil man, Jimmy Savile, was a narcissist. He abused tens of hundreds, if not hundreds of people. And what he was doing, he thought was okay. And in our community, are people narcissists who think, I'm alright, everything is okay with me. But this is a kind of mental disease, a complex, a way in which the brain has formulated its thinking. Even paranoia. Some of us are paranoid. When we see two brothers or two sisters talking, we believe in our minds, in our hearts, they're talking about you. They're talking about me. They're saying stuff about me. And so, the Quran, Ibn Qayyim says, and it's an ailment for the body, and it's an ailment as well for this world and the hereafter. But it is not necessarily the case that each and every person is successful in its application. You know, brothers and sisters, last week I was with some brothers, and I heard something that shocked me. Now, I'm a man of this dunya, so it takes a lot to shock me. But a brother told me about a place where they do ruqyah. He said, for £150 the first session, they put you in a room with other people in which the Quran is being played. Does that make sense to anybody? I'll go for ruqyah, I pay 150. Is that a little bit of money or a lot of money? So it's a lot of money. And they stick you in a room with other people and the Quran is being recited. And they call that ruqyah. I call that daylight robbery. I could do that myself. I'm in the wrong profession. Why you sound to them? Brothers, what's the difference between you putting on the CD player in your front room and sitting there listening to the Quran? Are you going to pay £150 to somebody for that same experience? You're sitting in a cubicle in a room with some sweaty person who's profusely sweating because, you know, they have the jinn flowing and running around in their body. I ask you, brothers and sisters, do some Muslims have zero shame? What is this deen? This deen is just to make money? Be rich or die trying? Even in the name of Allah? Subhanallah. I was shocked. So, it is not necessary that its application will help somebody. And so, brothers and sisters, I want to just go over as a reminder of what we have studied, and then I will draw it to a close. If there are any questions or anything, we can take them. That this comes to the end of our book and our session about magic. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all of us and to make us steadfast and upright. We spoke a lot. How many lectures have been recorded, Sheikh?
With this one will be...
Just this one, the jinn one.
The jinn one, yeah. With today's one,
yeah,
it will be about 10.
MashaAllah, 10 lectures. That's a lot of stuff we talked about. Put aside some of the stuff that I've said.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we talked about. And it's important because as Muslims, you're going to come across many different types of difficulties in your life. And sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. And so, we talked about, brothers and sisters, the jinn being a reality. That the jinn were made from smokeless fire. That the jinn are a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that have been given intellect. That the jinn are coarse and harsh in their nature. That the jinn do not live in another dimension as some people like to believe. They believe there's another dimension. No, they live on this earth, brothers and sisters, but they do not live normally and ordinarily with us. If you got jinn in the same house as you, and I don't mean the kids, if you got jinn in the same house as you, brothers and sisters, it is problematic. Usually the jinn, they live in valleys and far away, or places where human beings don't inhabit, or places, especially for the evil jinn, that human beings normally don't go to, like graveyards. However, there are times when the jinn, they may cross the path of a human being. They may cross the path of a human being when somebody harms them. Or if somebody is sacrilegious, does something against the religion, perhaps the evil jinn may communicate with that person. And they work together in cahoots, doing evil. However, amongst the jinn are believers. And we learn from Surah Jinn itself that in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, that when the Arabs, and I tell you, brothers and sisters, one day in your lives, if you can go to Saudi Arabia, rather than just going to Makkah, Medina, try to go on a highway somewhere else. You realize Saudi Arabia is not a country, it's a continent. It's a continent, it's so vast. Allah blessed me to travel. Partially in Saudi Arabia, you can drive for hours, which I did. The mountains, they change color from purple to orange to yellow. And you look, brothers and sisters, and I mean, it's like looking from here to the distance, it's only desert. Only desert. A vast expanse of land. So, the jinn, when they saw the pagan Arabs going to the valley, when they saw them, they fled, they ran away because they were scared of them. But when they saw the people say, oh, we seek refuge in the master of the jinn of this valley, they came back and they tormented them. And this is recorded, and we mentioned this in Surah Jinn. Also, brothers and sisters, we said there are certain things to protect ourselves. From those things to protect ourselves, we enter into our house. Do we just enter into our house? We say Bismillah. Before we eat our food, we say Bismillah. We also learned the last 3 verses, and there's a narration for the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. are a protection. We also learnt that Ayatul Kursi before going to sleep is a protection. We also learnt reciting over 3 days Surah Al-Baqarah is a protection. We also learnt by cupping our hands, reciting Surah Al-Nas, Falaq and Ikhlas and blowing lightly, then wiping ourselves is a protection. We also learned there are certain du'as, they are a protection. These are staple weapons in the armory of a Muslim. These are spiritual weapons. Also, I encourage myself and yourselves to learn Husn al-Muslim. All the Muslims should have one in their pocket. When you need it, you can recite it. Recite the supplications that are in it. Husn al-Muslim is available in the English language. In fact, it's available in different languages.
An app as well.
It's an app, PDF, everything. I remember a brother in a Muslim country, he was saying, we were talking about books, and he said, man, if you get Husn al-Muslim, send us some boxes. In Muslim countries, they would appreciate it. Hey, look at us here, we have it. How much Husn al-Muslim? £1? £1, £1.50? That's what? Leg and chips? Our priorities are belly, not our souls. Am I right? Tell someone to buy a book for £1.50. £1.50 for a book? You mad, fam? That's the response. Let's go buy some chicken and chips. £1.50? Yeah. Boss man, not too much chili, yeah? It's our state. So these are some of the things that if we don't, when we enter into the house, we say Bismillah, what happens? Shaitan enters. When you don't say Bismillah when you eat or drink, you're feeding Shaitan. And many of us, we said that we watch X Factor. What's it? MTV Cribs? Is it MTV Cribs? What's that program? I'm not saying you do know, perhaps you have. Brothers getting defensive these days, man. I'll take the blame for it, don't worry. But is it MTV Cribs or something like that? And Allah protect us. The Real Housewives of New York, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, hip hop and, was it Hip Hop and Love, is it? That people watch? The Love and Hip Hop? Brothers and sisters, I say with all respect. I say with all respect, if the sum total of your concern this week was two things. Kylie Jenner had the baby, and the skin tone of the baby, that you are part of the problem, not the solution. Do you know how many Muslims I know were eager and concerned that Kylie Jenner had the baby? And what was their concern about the baby? The skin tone. Would it look dark like the father or light like the mother? How many people were jubilating that the baby was light skinned? I'm not even talking about non-Muslims. People who have a book and have a prophet. Eager. Brothers and sisters, some of us are part of the problem, not the solution. So if you're watching these programs without an excuse, you need to reassess, reevaluate yourself in your consciousness. So Shaitan comes in, you let him in, shelter for the night. You say Bismillah, food. And imagine that on top of that, you know, first class, 5-star entertainment. Love and Hip Hop, Real Housewives of Atlanta, X Factor, and Billboard 100. Is that entertainment he likes or doesn't like? Spot on entertainment. Am I right? And some of us, also, because we have Netflix, we're on Netflix. Don't get me started about Netflix. I don't know a single Muslim hasn't got Netflix. Allah protect us all. One person said to me, what did they say? I don't do PlayStation anymore, I just watch Netflix. I don't know whether to laugh or to cry. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. So, So if that is, brothers and sisters, our situation, it's our situation. I wish everything that I said, someone would come and say to me, Tyler, brother, you're over-exaggerating. Am I right? A brother said to me, I said to him, I'm going to talk about, in my talk, in my lecture, I sometimes mention film stars as the opposite of good role models. A brother said to me that don't mention Priyanka Chopra because it may make people upset. People come to Islam, they don't watch Priyanka Chopra. You trying to tell me Muslims don't know Priyanka Chopra? I don't even know Priyanka Chopra. How did I find out about Priyanka Chopra? A young girl said to me, Priyanka Chopra is paying. That's what she said. I said, who's this Priyanka Chopra? I found out who Priyanka Chopra is. And this wasn't a girl who wasn't religious. Where's hijab? You're telling me that there's no ibtila, we are not having trials and tribulations in our houses. Of course we are. You're telling me if I get 250 Muslims together, nobody knows about Priyanka Chopra. I was going to talk about Shah Rukh Khan. He said to me, no, maybe talk about Oprah. I said, what? You see, Shah Rukh Khan is just an actor, Oprah is the industry. I said to myself, is this guy on crack or what? You cracked up, bro. Shah Rukh Khan is the biggest actor in the entertainment industry in the world. His net worth is 800 million. He's worth more than Jay-Z. And put Jay-Z and Beyonce together, he's worth more than both of them. Outside of maybe the Western Hemisphere, all of Africa knows Shah Rukh Khan. Don't hide it, bro. Don't hide it. Many African countries, especially in the 60s and 70s, they used to put on Hindi films. Am I right, Shay? I know they did it in Somalia, they did it in East Africa. They did it in East Africa. They used to watch it. Don't act like you don't know Hindi films. You watch Hindi films. Sometimes they were subtitled in Kiswahili as well. Am I right, Shay? I'm right. I'm not sleeping, I'm woke. So I said I was going to mention Shah Rukh Khan. People get offended. I'm saying, brother, you're telling me if I get 250, 300 Muslims, there's nobody who watches Shah Rukh Khan? If I mention Beyonce, I'm sure you guys, mashallah, you don't know Beyonce. Am I right? Who? The young guys, if I say 21 Savage, you don't know who that is, do you? Huh? You don't know a young guy. I don't want to even bait anybody out. Is this the reality or not the reality? This is a sad reality. I don't mention these people or say these people's names just for entertainment value. I do it to show us, yeah, somebody is watching and knows what's happening. At least one person of many people are woke. And so brothers and sisters, Shaitan comes in, lovely house, lovely meal, and banging entertainment. You know, there's a program called Come Dine With Me. Many people, they flop on the entertainment section. Nice food, but poor entertainment. They'll come to our house, mashallah. They'll have beautiful house, a roja, world-class roja, or biryani, and banging entertainment on top of that. And some of us will come dine with me, win-win, hands down. Hands down. No one can beat the biryani made in our house. Our houses are beautiful, and the entertainment that we'll put on for them, mashallah. And so brothers and sisters, we have to be protective of our houses. Our young children should grow up and learn to say Bismillah the first thing you come into the house. Also, we learned there was a number of adhkar, supplications, and I spoke about this, that repel the shaitan. We also learned about al-mas, about possession which is truthful. that people can become possessed and parts of the body can become possessed. And we learned that from the ways of expelling the mas, or getting rid of the mas, is first of all to find the magic if we can, or maybe through supplicating to Allah in a dream. The Shaykh says that you may be blessed to find the magic, or in cupping. Also, we learned about a sa, which is convulsion and fits. So this is something organic from the body that has been induced by something spiritual, which is the jinn or magic. And the magic can cause permanent damage at times. So if somebody can have fits and convulsion that are induced because of magic. We learned there are types of medicine. Some medicine that is halal, some medicine that's haram. The haram type of medication is that which its substance is haram or is built upon haram, like magic. That which is halal, that which is substance is halal, or is spiritual cure built upon the Quran and the Sunnah. Some people, you go to them, as we said, with ta'weez, which is bid'ah, and they inside the ta'weez they have all kinds of chemicals and they have all kinds of inscriptions in funny language. That's all magic. We then went on, we talked about amulets and charms. Brothers and sisters, Saint Christopher cannot help you. I even see Muslims with crosses. The ancient Christians, their symbol was fish, not a cross. And even the cross can be dangerous because Satanists have the cross upside down. Look at that. You see that? The cross there? Do you see it? You see it? There. There. Do you see it? Come back 5 years time, inshallah. Yeah? They have the cross upside down. So some of us, we don't know anything. We just are consumers. You may buy a crucifix upside down, symbolizing Satan worship. We don't know, do we? So, amulets and talismans are not from Islam. We then talked about fortune tellers and soothsayers. People who tell the future by using runes or stones or crystal balls or by magic itself. And we learned that the Prophet ﷺ told us whoever goes to a fortune teller and believes in what they say has disbelieved in what has been brought to Muhammad ﷺ. We also learned the Prophet told us whoever goes to a fortune teller, their salah will not be accepted for 40 days. It doesn't mean you quit salah for 40 days, by the way. You are commanded, the ulama say, to pray for 40 days. However, brothers and sisters, that salah, the reward of it is not accepted. We seek refuge in Allah from that. We also learned about ruqyah, and I spent a long time talking about ruqyah, am I right? That ruqyah, first of all, has conditions. One, that it is based upon the Quran and the Sunnah, or authentic supplications, not based upon language that people don't understand. And the brother asked me, I can't remember who asked me, I think it was a sheikh, can you do ruqyah in English? Am I right? In fact, I read up on that, and it said that ruqyah can be done in a language as long as it's understood. Wallahu a'lam. So I imagine here means English, but the foundation, the asl is the Arabic language. And if you want to be properly cured, I would stick to the Arabic language anyhow, because the Quran is an Arabic Quran. So, we also talked about ruqyah and the importance of ruqyah. And to be careful, we have charlatans. People, one, who don't know what they're doing, they'll beat you into smithereens. We've had cases in this country, somebody's hitting somebody, beat them to death. We also say we have a lot of people who love money. Who love money. So they come to you and they say they do ruqyah 200, 300 pounds, 1,000 pounds. 1,000 pounds a session. They themselves are not even pious, they don't even pray. How are they going to help you? God doesn't pray. What kind of ruqyah is doing over you? It's like a man going into war with an AK-47 with no bullets. Meets the enemy and starts. That's what it is. Isn't it? You're not religious, don't pray, don't fast, no connection with Allah, and you do ruqyah. You're just laughing at people. making haram money. Also we spoke about jealousy. That jealousy is of types. From the worst of jealousy that you don't want the person to have something. Another category of jealousy we said that the person doesn't want to have it themselves and doesn't want the other person. We said jealousy first of all is the ceasing of Allah's ni'mah on somebody. So jealousy is you don't want the person to have the thing, you want it yourself. Also jealousy is you don't want them to have it and you don't want it yourself. Jealousy also is you don't want that person to have that ni'mah but you want somebody else to have that ni'mah. He said about jealousy is from the amrad al-qulub. It is from the sicknesses of the heart that proliferates our community. The biggest enemy for us brothers and sisters is not outside the confines of the Muslim community. Don't delude yourself. The biggest enemy is amongst ourselves, starting with me first and foremost, then yourselves. We are the largest enemy for ourselves. And the reactor that gives us energy is corrupted, which is the heart. If we look how we treat each other, you would not believe that we believed in the verse of the Quran where Allah says, indeed, the believers are brothers. If we say we believe in the Quran, you go to Muslim, believe in the Quran, believe in the Quran. Just that verse, the believers are the brothers. Where do we stand in respect to that verse? Where? Can we truly say we believe in that verse? Or should I say we believe in that verse, but do we implement it in our lives? Just that verse. I'm not saying anything else. What stops us actualizing that verse, brothers and sisters, is our hearts are sick. We are sick men and women. Not sick as in a deprived way. Not sick as in somebody who doesn't have their health. But we have amrad al-qulub. We have illnesses of the heart. Why do you think the ulama have written book upon book upon book upon book upon book about diseases of the heart? Why did Ibn Taymiyyah write a book, The Diseases of the Heart? Why? Just for playing and folly? They recognize, the ulama recognize, they see how we interact with each other. How we deal with each other. Look how do we deal with each other like brothers and sisters? Sometimes we deal with each other like enemies. In the 1990s, I went to a masjid for the first time. And there were two brothers who had an argument. And another brother was there. And he tried to mediate. The brother said, Brother A was given money to do a job for Brother B. And Brother A, in doing this job, painting and decorating, he dropped the hammer into a bath and made a hole. Now, I don't know how stupid you can get, but Brother A got polyfiller and polyfillered the hole. Sometimes I feel the British government wastes its education on some people. It's a waste of the government pays around £2,100 per year per head of each child. That's a waste of money. Because anybody with a brain knows polyfiller, especially if you put hot water, what happens? So Brother B, when the job was completed by Brother A, Brother B went to have a bath. Where did the water go, brothers and sisters? Sir Isaac Newton, over what, 1,000 years ago, was able to discover, well, it was always there, but he labeled for us something called the laws of gravity. Am I right? So as the water filled up, out it came. All over the floor in this decorated bathroom. Brother B was very upset. So Brother B had an argument with Brother A and he threatened him. In this meeting, Brother A brought up the argument and the threat. Brother B, like most of us, got into his feelings. And he said, yeah. I said, I'll shoot you. Do you want me to go and get my gun now? Do you want me to go and get it? And he stood up and he was walking away. And he was going to his house to get his gun. And we sat there, scratching our heads, asking ourselves, are these people Muslim? Is that Islam? That's Islam, not Islam. And they're ready to come to blows. Without a doubt, Brother B had the right. Brother A, had you broken the bath, and this is the sad thing. He broke the bath and he knew he made a hole. He put in polyfiller. Why did he put polyfiller? To hide it. Subhanallah. To hide what he did. Not that he tried to repair a damage. He did something wrong. He tried to fix it and say, listen brother, I'm really sorry this happened. If you can't afford to give the guy the money back, say, look, I can't afford to give you the money back, but let's work something out. I pay you £5 a month, £10 a week, whatever. No. He tried to hide it with his brainstorm of an idea. And so, brothers and sisters, in the masjid, yeah, I said, I want to fight you, get my gun. Rising up to go to his house or whatever to get his gun. And this other brother's like, yeah, I ain't scared of you. Jahiliyyah. Or that other word that I used earlier on. Negativity. And so, brothers and sisters, jealousy is from a root of why people do magic, and the root of the evil eye. A root of it. Why people do magic and evil eye, the sickness of the heart is a root why. Sometimes people are overwhelmed with jealousy they don't know. Also, we then went on, brothers and sisters, to look at the Quran and the importance of the Quran. We finished it largely last week and recounted this week. And we said that, the Quran is not something we just, and I say this all the time ad nauseum, just take it off the shelf. Okay. Welcome, Samsula. So we ask Allah, brothers and sisters, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He blesses every single one of us and to purify our hearts. Take out jealousy, envy, hatred and enmity from our hearts. Make us be people who are keys of goodness for ourselves and for the community as well. To make us people in our society that are positive influences on each other and other people, and beacon lights of Tawheed, and that He protect us from Shaitan and his Qabila, that is those people who are with him, whether they be from the Jinn or whether they be from other humans. And so, brothers and sisters, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to start our new dars, which would be 40 Hadith al-Nawawi. Okay, I do request that people bring pens and paper. Okay, and I'll give a surprise as well. I have a surprise for the people who complete the 40 Hadith al-Nawawi with us. Okay, I won't say what it is now. So you have to come. So next week is holiday, am I right? Yes? So next week is the holiday. We give you a break. You've had enough of me, especially after tonight, am I right? You're going to go home with your head ringing. So next week is a holiday, but the week after we commence with 40 Hadith al-Nawawi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless yourselves and bless us. Wa jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.